Hey guys, how are you? I am Mehnaz. I hope that you are all fine. So, dear friends and students, today we will learn about conditional sentences. But first of all, please subscribe my channel, like and share my channel, okay? I will also tell you more about the kinds and formation of conditional sentences. First of all, we should know about the definition of conditional sentences. So in the conditional sentences, we will deal about conditions, we will deal with conditions. There can be the outcome of condition. Okay, it usually start with if. I hope that the definition is clear. So let's come to know about the dependent clause and independent clause because it is a basic thing to learn about conditional sentences. So, an independent clause can't exist alone, but an independent clause can exist alone. Okay, it is a difference between dependent clause or independent clause. An independent clause is free clause because it can give meaning without a dependent clause. An independent clause is a group of words that can express a complete thought or idea. An independent clause is also a group of words but can't express a complete idea or thought without independent clause. It usually starts with conjunction because, but, therefore, etc. Both clauses are necessary for the formation of conditional sentences. Here you can see that there is an example. I could not go to school because I was ill. So the first part is your independent clause because this part can give meaning without your second part. Okay, I could not go to school because I was ill. I think so that the independent clause and dependent clause is clear. So we should talk about zero conditional. It deals with common facts, realities. It is also the result of scientific experiments. So we use in dependent clause simple present and we use in independent clause simple present. Means we use simple present to form zero conditional. Dependent clause begins with if or when. Are you getting me? There are some examples for your better comprehension. If it rains, things get wet. So, which part is dependent and which part is independent? The first part is dependent because it is not giving meaning without the second part, but the second part is giving meaning without the first part. Okay, so if it rains, things get wet. You can notice over here that in dependent clause you are going to use present tense, but in dependent clause you are also going to use your present tense. Means in both clauses you will use present tense. Okay, so if you stare at the sun, your eyes damage. The first part is dependent and the second part is independent and the tense is same. You will use present tense. Okay, if you touch a flame, you burn yourself. Tense is present and the first part is dependent and the second part is independent. Okay, so let's talk about first conditional sentence. It expresses a real possibility and it talks about something is that likely to happen. The things that can be possible are the core of discussion in first conditional sentences. The verb in the if clause or dependent clause is in present tense. Means we use present tense in dependent clause, but we will use future tense in independent clause. Are you getting me? Sometimes can is used in independent clause. For example, he cannot fix the clock if he does not have the right tools. You can see over here that it is your independent clause and this one is your dependent clause. Okay, so we can use sometimes can or cannot. Okay, are you getting me? Do not go in the water unless you can swim. So your first part is dependent and the second part is independent. Are you getting me? So we use present tense in dependent clause but we will use future tense with independent clause. Are you getting me? There are some examples. If it rains, I will not play outside. It is a general possibility. You can see over here that the first part is dependent clause and the tense of dependent clause is present, and it is your second part, and this part is independent clause, and you can notice that the tense of independent clause is future. If I am out to lunch, Maria will answer calls. It is also a general possibility that if you are not on your seat and someone will receive your calls and will give the answers to your calls. So the first part is present and the second part is future. If it rains, the picnic will be cancelled. It is also a general possibility. Are you getting me? Let's talk about second conditional. It is my favorite conditional because sometimes we use it to satisfy our emotions and feelings. Okay, so if you want to satisfy yourself, you can use conditional sentences because it deals with the hypothetical possibilities. We talk about something that could happen but probably will not. We use past tense in if for dependent clause and modal verb would or could are used in independent clause. We often use were instead of was in the if clause of second conditional because it refers to something that is impossible. If the condition is impossible, okay, you will use were instead of was. Here is an example. If I were a boy, it is impossible condition. Okay, so you will use here were instead of was. I could join the football. Are you getting me? So you will use simple past tense plus would, could plus first form of verb. Some examples are here that if I knew the answer, I would tell you. Suppose you are in the examination hall and someone is teasing you to ask something and you are going to justify yourself by using conditional sentence. First one is dependent clause and the second one is independent clause, and you can notice over here that the tense of the dependent clause is past and the tense of independent clause is would plus first form. If I were you, it is impossible thing. I would not leave tonight. I am not you. So it is a pure hypothetical and impossible situation. So we use were in here instead of was. And in independent clause, would is used with first form of verb. If I were president, I would fix the system. It is also a pure hypothetical and impossible situation. So that's why we are going to use were instead of was. Are you getting me? So we should talk about the third conditional sentence. Third conditional sentence expresses a past idea that was possible, but it is not a hypothetical condition. But it did not occur. It is also unreal but not hypothetical. It is near to reality but could not be a part of your past because of some reasons. Okay, but it is not hypothetical, it is near to reality. Okay, we will use here third form of verb, means we will use here past perfect plus would have third form of verb. Are you getting me? Let's discuss examples. If I had finished my work, I would have gone to the trip. It is near to reality but it did not occur in past. It could not be a part of your past. Okay, so you can notice that the first part is in past perfect and the second part is would have plus third form of verb. In dependent clause we use past perfect, and in independent clause we use would have with third form of verb. Are you getting me? If I had listened, I would have not gotten lost. If I had gone to lunch, you would have answered his calls. It is also a it can be also a real situation but it did not occur. It could not be a part of your past. Here you can notice one thing, that the both are near to reality but it is not the part of your past. It is not unreal situation but did not occur. Okay, are you getting me? In both sentences you can notice that the first part is in past perfect and the second part is would have plus third form of verb. I hope that you have enjoyed your learning with me. Please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to keep aware yourself about my new videos. Your feedback is very important for me and keep me in your prayers. Thanks for watching my video. Take care. Allah Hafiz.